Well, hey everybody, and welcome to False Reality Check. I'm Buffalo Rambler,
And I am Lakes.
and today we have a special episode.
Sounds so weird. I'm
it's
sorry.
so funny to say your name.
So I'm like, I am Lakes.
I am Lakes. I've got AIDS. A great episode for you. We got a chance to talk to Konspiracy Kyle from the Conspiracy in the Forest podcast.
Yeah, we did a little Swapcast together. He is so cool. Really cool guy.
Down to earth.
Out of Ohio. And
Awesome.
He loves Star Wars.
Yes. And he gave
And
us
he knows a lot about it.
He gave us some mad knowledge on things that we didn't know or didn't think about from the Star Wars universe, and kind of recommended some things for us to look into, which I'm actually going to look into because it's interesting theory. And, you know, we just kind of went about our days, our weeks, and we talked about life. And
we just had a conversation about what's going on, where we live, and ended it with a little music.
Yeah.
Not recommendations, but just our likes.
Some music talk.
Music talk. And yeah, who would have thought Jar Jar Binks might be smarter than we think.
Don't give it away.
I'm sorry.
Don't give it away because they got to listen to the episode, because Conspiracy Kyle will drop some bombs on us.
It's true.
So you got to listen to the episode to get to this theory, because it was very interesting, and I'm going to look into it a lot more because I've never heard this before. But I had a great time. Did you have a great time?
I had a great time.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk to him again.
Oh, for sure. I want him to come on to drop some bombs on you folks on some Star Wars information and some, mythology of the whole universe would be nice. There was more that he talked about that I was like, ooh, I want to get into that a little bit more, but we only had him for so long. So I'm glad that we could do this Swapcast and look forward to another one.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone enjoy it. Check out Kyle.
Yep. Conspiracy in the Forest podcast can be found on Rokfin, on YouTube, and all the podcast places.
Yeah, and he's also on Twitter at Conspiracy Kyle with a K.
Yes, and an underscore, so it's Conspiracy_Kyle.
Yes.
So check him out, guys.
All right, enjoy, everyone. How you doing?
I am doing well. How about you guys?
Hanging in there.
Doing okay.
Yeah, best you can,
Yeah.
Right? It was a trying day today, just hard on the soul.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just we got fire. There's like a fire going on to the northeast of us. Not too close, but it's like enough to make the air shitty.
Yeah. Okay. Are you guys in California? You guys are in California?
We are. Yeah. We are.
Okay.
Yeah. And you're in Ohio, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We've been there like one time.
Yeah, and we loved it.
It was cool.
Yeah. It's not as bad as like, when you see Ohio like on TV shows and stuff, like you see like fields of cows and stuff, and like there's some of that, and think about it now, it's like that's not all bad. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
No, exactly.
So it's we don't get any, we don't get any like really, other than tornadoes, which happen like once every 20 years. There's like no natural disasters of any kind, right? You don't get hurricanes, you don't get tsunamis, you don't get fire, and any kind of that stuff. So kind of lucked out a little bit there.
There's no floods or anything? You guys don't get floods?
We get a lot of really bad rain, and there'll be some areas that have some flooding, but not too bad. Knock on wood. As I say that, it's probably gonna start thunderstorming here, but
here comes the weather. Here comes the weather machines. Yeah, we started recording, by the way.
Yeah, we just record automatically.
We're just going.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go. So yeah, it was just crazy day to day, just within our direct vicinity, but also Afghanistan. That's like the big story, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
You hear about that?
Yeah. What's happening now? I mean, every day it seems like there's a new article that we're supposed to be overly involved in. What's the newest?
So ISIS-K, which I'm like,
oh, okay.
It's a variant.
It's like a variant of ISIS. They just created out of thin air.
Like the Delta.
It's the Delta variant of ISIS.
Exactly. So like I hear ISIS-K and I'm like, CIA?
Yeah.
Is that what's going on?
Pretty much.
But yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, there was a, I guess, terrorist attack at the airport. Was it the airport?
Like on the perimeter of the airport.
Yeah.
And several American military died.
Yeah, 13 is the number right now.
Yeah.
That have died.
Okay.
But it was 2 suicide bombers, I guess.
And then, you know, the civilian deaths as well. There's a ton of those. There's like dozens, they said. Yeah.
Right. So it's, to me, just hearing that sounds like, is that provocation for us to just, oh, now we have to go back? You know, hey, I hope you guys hope you like your taxpayer dollars, you know, spent on this for the next 20 years, because we got to ramp up the machine again. Why not?
I know.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's the thought I had. The other thought I had was because Biden is very incompetent, clearly.
Yes.
I think we can all agree. They're just trying to maybe like 25th Amendment him on out and put you know, Kamala Harris in.
Camel toe Harris.
Yeah.
Right. Which is like, you know, pick your poison. One poison you'll die today, one poison you'll die next week. So what would you rather have with them? Yeah, it's like it's a whole, it's just, you know, and I'm beginning more and more to think it's just all like theater, right? It's just, you know, who knows really what is real, what's not. It's just, you know, any president, it seems, is really just a figurehead. They really have no power of their own. They're controlled by whoever's paying them, right? They're just like they're like a NASCAR driver, right? They should be wearing the sweater, the shirt with all their sponsorships, you know, big oil, pharma, all that, because they're the ones that are, you know, telling them what to do, this and that. So it's a fun world we're living in, isn't it?
Yeah, he's definitely owned. I mean, he had some like questions after he just did his little speech here, and he's like, I was instructed to call on certain people. I'm gonna call on you. And then like, it's like, who instructed you? You're the president. Shouldn't you be instructing other people?
Right. And yeah, I mean, this person who already has a pre-written thing that I already have an answer for.
Yeah.
You know, let's do this.
Yeah. And you like,
hey, look, my cat has made a visit. My cat has made a visit to us.
Nice.
This is Mr. Potter. He's
Mr.
a real
Potter.
real big fuzzy guy.
Nice.
Where'd he get his name from?
Oh, so I have a dog named Chewie. So my wife let me have the Star Wars reference for Chewie. And then we have 2 cats with Harry Potter themed names. So we have Mr. Potter, this really big guy here. And then we have, if anybody's familiar with Harry Potter, we have Dobby. He's just a little rascally little one, just like the elf in Harry Potter. So they're cute little fellas, but they're can be annoying as all get out. Do you guys have any pets?
Yeah.
Yes, one dog.
She's asleep under us right now.
Yeah,
she'll probably make an appearance when she flaps her ears. It'll sound like a raspberry.
Yeah. Exactly.
So do you guys get any wildfires around where you're at up there?
Let's see, the closest one, I don't know how far are the mountains from here, like
St. Gabriel's aren't that far away.
50 miles maybe?
Yeah, about 50 miles. And so they're good enough that if we get up to a high enough elevation by us, like on top of the highest hill, we can see them. Mm-hmm. And you know, it'll clog up the air for the day. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, there was like a few really bad fires a few years ago that were pretty close, but we've been fortunate. We have some hills. We have some hills to the north of us that, man, if they ever caught fire, we would be in trouble.
Oh, we'd be screwed.
But so far, so good. Knock on wood.
Yeah, I saw one of those really cool. You know how you see those really cool trending Twitter articles that are, you know, complete nonsense. And it was from, you know, probably LA Times or San Francisco, something that said, you know, between the Delta variant and these wildfires, should we just be wearing N95 masks at all times now? Like, no, we shouldn't.
No.
So bad. Oh my God. Yeah, when I was driving home from work today, I drove by one of the elementary schools in town, and poor kids were playing outside with their masks on. It's so heartbreaking just to see that.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I don't, you know, and it's like people post it online like they're so proud of their kids wearing masks. I don't understand that at all. I mean, it's more of a political statement that they're making versus actually for their kids' health, right? It's you know, and you know, Charlie Robinson, you know, we all know Charlie Robinson. He's awesome. He made a great quote, you know, on one of his podcasts last year. He said, you know, at a certain point last year, the virus was starting to kind of wane a little bit, right? People were starting to kind of get over this bullshit. So they had to find some way to visually represent this invisible virus, right? So that's when you saw, because the masks weren't even a thing at the beginning, right? So, but then at a certain, you know, arbitrary point, they decided, hey, well, I think we all need to be wearing masks, and it's just to visually show the virus, right? Because otherwise, you go out into the real world last year, like a lot of times it looks just like any other day, any other year, but they needed something to keep people in fear, and it's worked really well. I mean, based on I'm sure you guys have seen people driving in cars with masks, by themselves, like
and gloves.
And gloves, yeah. And that's a good thing too. I saw one thing. I think it might have been a joke picture or something, but it was somebody sitting in their car with a mask, and they had masks over all their air vents in their car.
Oh my God.
I'm like, for one, like this has to be satire at some point, but at the same time, there's crazier shit that we've seen over the past year and a half. So it's not too far off from the truth.
I'm waiting for someone to put a giant mask over the radiator in the front of their car. Just to see.
Right. Exactly. Like if they care so much about carbon emissions and stuff, like maybe they should just pump that back into their car so they breathe it. So we don't all have to pay carbon tax on their behalf. And
the trees will be happy.
the trees, the happiest trees.
Oh my God. Yeah, mask thing is just it's weird. We've talked about it before. We're pretty fortunate where we're at right now. It's not like a big issue depending on what business you go into, but it's not everywhere. But of course you have people walking around outside with their masks on.
Right.
Obviously the elementary schools around us, those poor kids are wearing their masks.
My coworker today, she was telling me that her kids are sick. She's like, I gave them a COVID test and they tested negative, but they have all the symptoms.
Oh my God.
They don't let them wear masks in school. They don't mandate them. And she's in Texas.
Oh my God.
And I'm just like, those tests aren't really accurate, right? They're not meant.
Right.
And she's like, no, I know you really should get like the antibody test, but you can't get that around here. And, it would just be better if they wore masks. And I was like, well, even by the CDC standards, the masks only help with like 1%. And those tests were all done with N95s.
Right.
We're done with cloth masks.
Right.
So the cloth masks don't even help. And she's like, no, you're right. But still, and it's like, God.
But it's like she's been told that she has to say those 3 or 4 bullet points, right? Because it's been beat into your brain that well, you have to wear masks, you have to do this, you have to do this, and then when you bring logic into it, they're like, to some people, thank God, they're like, oh well, I guess that really doesn't make much sense. And it's funny what you mentioned about the antibody test, because I had a friend, he went to the doctor today, and of course they apparently now it's just what they ask, oh, are you vaccinated? He's like, no, blah blah blah. And then he's like, I've had COVID before, like, can you guys give me the antibody test just to know, like, because I mean that's a good reason to not have to get a vaccine or do anything. If you already have enough antibodies, like, then I think that's good proof for you to not have to participate in a lot of the BS they're trying to get you to. But they wouldn't give him the antibody test because they were worried about false negatives, right? So they were worried about telling people they had antibodies if they possibly didn't. Which is hilarious, because the other way around, it didn't seem to work that way. But you can give people false fear, but you can't give people false hope, I think is what it boils down to.
Okay. Yeah, that seems about right.
Wow.
Seems legit. Yeah.
Sounds like a system designed by like Nazis or something that came from World War II. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Almost. It's like we're almost there, but it's like anytime you say like the word Nazi or anything, it's like, I think the word has been so diluted over the past 4 or 5 years, because everybody called Trump a Nazi, everybody called this person Nazi, this and that. And it's like, now when people on the other side try to use it now, it's like, well, then it just doesn't have any meaning, like racist, all these words, they've just been diluted so much that they really just have no meaning anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's just kind of, desensitized, I guess to it. And if you tell somebody, well, treating unvaccinated people like they're the plague is no different than the Nazis were treating the Jews, which is a valid point. People are like, oh God, conspiracy theory, blah, blah, blah. Like, without even thinking, like, the whole thing about Nazi Germany was, take the Nazis out of it altogether. It was, people, ratting out their neighbors, people, people buying into the propaganda. The Nazi party was horrible in what they were. unfortunately, they were effective because they were able to control the minds of the average everyday person. And you can see that happening, but of course, if you talk about this stuff and use the word Nazi in it, people just immediately roll their eyes and say, okay, whatever, crazy person.
Yeah.
Put on your mask. Why aren't you wearing your N95? Quit talking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to kind of reference to your point, that with the whole like versus treating how the Nazis treated Jews in World War II and how people are treating unvaccinated people here, they did have like what is it called, sanitation or cleanliness laws that they excluded Jews out of certain because they thought that they were impure or they could never be a certain cleanliness level or something like that. So that's kind of what they're doing here. They're just not limiting it to a race. They're just putting a class of people, a medical class of people. So they're medicalizing it so it's okay,
Right. Yeah, even back like biblical times, same thing. If people were considered to have leprosy or whatever, they had to live way outside of the town. And you couldn't visit them, you couldn't be within so many feet of them. I feel like that's a Bible verse. I'm gonna have to look that up. Like I feel like you weren't some of the real strict Jewish rules, like you weren't allowed to be within a certain proximity of them. And you can see this stuff just kind of comes back around again. But a lot of people don't appreciate and realize history just repeats itself over and over and over again. This stuff is cyclical. It just because something happened 50, 60, 100, 200 years ago doesn't mean it's not relevant for what's happening now, because you get the same kind of egomaniacs. A human brain, take all the technology, medical out of it, the human brain, the human psyche, egotistical, maniacal people are always going to be the same throughout history, and they're always going to find ways to try to control people. And what they've done geniusly recently is that they've made it about, your health, and you're helping your fellow man by doing X, Y, and Z, not realizing that, they're just kind of herding you into this pen here. So they know that anything they say in the future, they can get you to do, just because they will put that guilt trip on you, which, to the untrained brain and untrained third eye, it's very effective.
Yeah.
I like that, untrained third eye.
I love that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good.
It's like there somewhere you got to like get a scrub brush or something to get in there, but
Oh man. Is the Vax passport making an appearance where you're at just yet, or?
Not necessarily. I mean, and I posted it online and stuff, but my work is doing mandates, and I work in healthcare, which makes it a little more tricky to try to get around it. So still trying to kind of figure that out. I think I have a way out. So, knock on wood that'll work out okay. But as far as the passport goes to like go to eat at restaurants and stuff, not really yet. I mean, the county I live in is, I guess, quote unquote, like a red county. I mean, Ohio has typically always been conservative, but I think over the past few years it started to turn a little bit, because some of the wages of the people here have started to go down, and to certain people, they buy into hope of the Democratic Party about this and that. They want to help you, the government wants to help you do this and that. So it started to turn a little bit, but no, not really around where I live. Not too much. I mean, I think a lot of people around here will definitely speak with their dollar if that starts to happen. I think that will start to go away. And I don't know if you got in. I want to talk to you guys about what's going on out there, but I don't know if you guys saw the images and the videos from France recently about how they rolled out the vaccine passport for restaurants and stuff. But now you just see like hundreds of people just like picnicking in the street, with their families and stuff. Like that's awesome, and it's such a kick in the teeth of them trying to virtue signal for all this garbage, because oh my God, that creeped me out for a second.
Nice pussy.
Well, thank you. Needs shaved a little bit, but it's nothing wrong with the retro. Nothing wrong with the retro look.
Oh my
God. Where was I going with that?
The France
I'm
thing.
so sorry.
The France thing.
Families in
picnicking.
the street picnicking.
Families picnicking in the street. Yeah.
I guess people coming together outside of these there's good coming out of this, I guess.
Right. And the whole point of this vaccine passport, I saw a great little tweet too that said, you know, if you go into a restaurant, they ask you to show a passport to a vaccine card to eat, you know, you should ask the server, well, are you HIV positive? Are you Hep B positive? Do you have a cold? Do you have the flu? Have you, like, you know, because COVID is not the only virus. I mean, people think it's the only thing you can get sick of and die from, but I mean, there's a lot of things much worse, like heart disease from donuts. You know, that's one thing, which is the number one killer. That in cancer, you know, also can be caused by poor diet. But just because you have got the vaccine, we obviously have seen all these news articles and stuff, right? You can still spread it. You can still get it. You can still die. You can still get sick. You may get nothing, but you could still get sick and you could still die. Yeah. And which is hilarious because they say that your symptoms are lessened if you get the vaccine. So if you get the vaccine and you die, is that preferable to just like spontaneously combusting? Like what does that make better? Like maybe what's
quicker?
You're right. You die quicker than, like, I don't get it. You just burst into a ball of flames. Like I don't know. So
I like those headlines that have been coming out where so and so died, but they were vaccinated, so it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Have you seen those headlines? Like
I saw
but
one.
They're dead.
I saw one today that was like
they were just like smiling. Bye guys. Bye. See you later.
Yeah. I saw one where the guy was like a skydiver and his parachute didn't open, and he said the last thing they heard him say was, "I wish I got vaccinated." And it's like, are you serious?
You're lying.
No,
I saw that. That was a headline today. I saw that. Oh man.
I would not put it past CNN to, you know, take advantage of someone that just died and put words in their mouth, right? It's just it's hilarious. It's hilarious. What about you guys? What about out there? I know some places have started to do that kind of stuff. How about in your area?
LA County, they're definitely thinking about it. As far as where we're at, Orange County, they shot that down. Like when was it? It was like sometime last year.
No, it was earlier this year.
Was
maybe,
it this year?
Maybe a few months ago.
Some health board director, some bureaucrat came out and was trying to get the process started. And people shot that shit down. Yeah. They were just like
the county supervisors like threatened to get rid of him basically. So
right.
So that was good, but there's no sign of a vax passport just yet. But LA County is a different story, which is a trip because if we just drive so many minutes down the street, we're in LA County. You know.
Mm-hmm. Right. So what's the difference?
Yeah,
you know?
It's weird.
It's over there. They definitely require you to wear a mask no matter what. If you go inside any building, you have to wear a mask. They'll have the little markers on the floor where you're allowed to stand, you know. And
God.
They have those here, but the businesses usually have a sign that says, if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask, or, you know, some businesses don't have to even put a sign up. Some businesses don't put any signs up. I went in, picked up food the other day in a little mom and pop, like little taco place, and no sign, no nothing. And the workers were wearing masks, but they didn't say anything to me. So
right. Yeah. And then those are the kind of places I like to like frequent, like, and you know, those ones around town, like the ones that just don't give a fuck about that shit. It's like, I will frequent those places, you know, any day of the week. Like, you know, the local drive-through where I go get, you know, beer and stuff. Like I've gone there. I go there all the time, all last year, and I'll still go there, even though that, you know, the mask mandates are over in the gas station stuff, just because I never had to there, and they didn't make their employees do it either. Yeah. So it's like I wanna help out those kind of places because they just didn't give a fuck, you know. Not that they didn't give a fuck, they just like they knew it was just bullshit and just move on with your day.
Exactly. You know?
Yeah. The mom and pops around here definitely don't care, but when you get to like the Starbucks or the coffee beans, you know, you have to wear a mask through the drive-through.
Oh yeah.
In order.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
We had an
hilarious.
Incident. Like when this first started, we had an incident where we just got a wild hair and like, oh, let's go to Coffee Bean, you know, and we put in our order, and then we get to the window, and the girl's like, can you please put your mask on? And I'm like, I'm gonna give you my card. Like, I'm gonna give you my
you
card.
Have to
right.
What's the difference? You know? And
yeah.
she's like, we can't serve you if you don't have a mask. So we just drove away.
Right. Right.
They probably already had things made.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, don't worry about my infectious skin disease, but yeah, I'll put my mask on. Yeah, no big deal. Yeah, I saw one video that was like that. In like they said, well, we can't serve you without a mask, and they said, well, we can give you a mask. Like, well, wait a second, you can give me a mask to put on, so I can give you my card. Like it just doesn't make any sense. You're still passing stuff back and forth. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
and then people like in those places and fast food, like they'll have gloves on. Like, oh, like gloves that's really nice that you're touching everybody's grubby, coins and dollars and credit cards. Like, yeah, those are unsanitary as soon as you put them on, basically.
Yeah.
Unless you're in like a surgical, an enclosed surgical room, those are pointless.
Exactly.
Pointless. But at least you feel better about yourself, So
exactly. But yeah, that was when it first started. I feel like more and more we're just seeing people like mask over their mouth, not covering their nose, just kind of,
or just like they'll put it on their chin, like they just like have to have something up in case somebody bugs them, like
right.
they just don't want to fight. They just, oh yeah, I'll put it up.
Yeah, the workers at, I don't know, the corporate businesses around us, they're slowly starting to not care, I think.
Yeah,
because this is all
good.
People are starting to realize, I think, that this is bullshit.
Yeah, I went to the grocery store, was it yesterday? Yeah, I went to the grocery store yesterday, and I would say a good 80% of their workers didn't have a mask on. The workers.
Good.
So
Good.
I think the only guy I saw with a mask on was the butcher cutting up the meat. So I was like, wow, okay, this is great. Like the people in the aisles, everybody, nobody was wearing a mask. There was like really old people that were wearing masks, and I get it, you're worried, but most everybody wasn't even wearing a mask. Yeah. Walking in, walking out, nobody cared. So
yeah, I always like if I see the people with a mask, I just kind of like give them like the over the glasses look, just like why are you doing this? Just please stop. Please stop.
You can breathe.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, if you in building whatever, but it's like when you step outside, just stop. You don't need to wear it to your car. Okay. You don't need to wear it into your car, drive home, wear it into bed, go to sleep, wake up in the morning. Like, please just, because I guarantee people are doing that. I saw like a stupid video on Instagram, like, oh, look at my face. I actually fell asleep with my mask on. It's like, no, nobody does that.
Nobody does that.
No.
Nobody does that. You're just making a video. And like, how is that video appealing to anybody? It's not funny. Maybe it is appealing to people. I don't know, but it really shouldn't be.
No,
I don't laugh at that stupid shit.
No.
Yeah, we saw a guy the other day. We were walking our dog, and we talked about it on one of our episodes. He literally came out of his house with mask on, leaned out of his house, reached over, grabbed mail out of his mailbox, and like frightenedly like pulled it back in and closed the door. And I'm just thinking, wait, you wore a mask in your house and you're wearing it just to get your mail, where you're literally just I'm just
so sad.
Yeah,
it's sad.
And the guy
he should have had one of those like grabber things, like he doesn't have to go out, just like grab it and like go back inside, like the air is poison,
Exactly.
I mean, he should just wear a gas mask if he's that worried. I don't
right.
Go live in the mountains.
Well, that's one thing I had thought about initially when the whole mask thing started happening. I'm like, what are they preconditioning us to feel about these? Like, is it because they know that we're going to be in some kind of nuclear war, nuclear fallout type situation where, obviously in that situation you need to wear one. If you're near like, Chernobyl or something, yeah, you need to wear a mask because that's not good. That's called like, radiation and shit.
Yeah.
But were they preconditioning people to be in that sort of environment? And the more I think about it, it's like, no, they just want to tell us to do stupid shit and see if we do stupid shit. And 90% of people have failed at not doing or doing stupid shit. So
I mean, yeah, and if you want to go the spiritual route, it's very dehumanizing to the soul to just to put something over your face and not be able to interact with people, to see their facial expressions. It's been hard for sure.
I mean, it's hard for kids. I forgot what the study is called, but I'm sure there was that study where a mother would like make a face or block her face from a baby, and the baby would just immediately start crying. And that, that feeling doesn't translate when we're adults. Like you have that kind of trauma still when you see somebody wearing a mask. People just don't understand that you're an adult, so you get over it because you're dealing with trauma all the time. That's just little micro traumas here and there,
Right.
So
Kyle, have people with masks started showing up in your dreams?
Oh God.
Has COVID like infiltrated your dreams? I guess.
I don't think so. Like I don't about you guys, but like I have like vivid dreams that like I remember a lot of stuff, but like I don't all as soon as I wake up, I feel like it's gone. Like I remember like bits and pieces of it for some reason, but for the most part, as soon as I wake up, it's gone. But like I haven't had anything related to COVID, but like and I want to ask you guys the same question. Like I've had some like recurring dreams in the past.
Same.
And like, you know, some of them like it made a lot of sense. Like maybe there was just something not aligned in my life that was going on. But like I used to have this dream all the time, and I talked about it a few weeks ago, where it was like I was back in college,
Oh my God.
and I was trying to get to school or something. I was trying to get to class, or I had a test or something. Like I hadn't studied for it, and like I would wake up and I would feel like crap. Like, am I? Oh no, I went to school like 10 years ago. Like I haven't had to do that for a long time. Like what am I freaking out and worried about? But it's like, I don't know, maybe I just was
No.
missing out on something in life and I need to see a therapist about, which I didn't do. But you know, I don't have those dreams anymore. So I guess something it got better.
Oh my
But
God.
I don't know. Would you guys have had any crazy dreams?
That is so weird because I've had a few of those dreams lately too, where I'm back in high school and I'm like in the wrong class. I forgot to do an assignment, or I'm in college all over again and I'm late for a test. And I wake up and I'm same thing. I'm like, why am I dreaming about this? I don't care about college anymore or high school. It's been years. So that's just weird that you had the same.
And I think I had one too where like I was on like roller coasters or something, and like the track like broke off or something. I'm like, okay, now this is just a little morbid here or something. That's a little. It was one of those like, you know, like when you feel like you're falling or something, and you like wake up. Like I had a few of those. I'm like, holy shit, I don't like that at all. I don't think I'm gonna sleep anymore tonight.
I haven't had dreams like that since I was a kid. I would have them as a kid a lot. Yeah, it was like a weird sinking feeling that you get. Yeah.
Yeah, I get reoccurring falling dreams a lot, and I'll kick, like I'll straight up kick and wake myself up. But I'm kind of weird, you guys. I dream in black and white. I don't dream in color, and
Wow.
the only things that are in color are certain things, like her eyes will appear in color, so I'll see green. Certain people's lips will be like, if they have like lipstick, it'll be like bright red or bright pink or something. But most of my dreams are in black and white. I don't dream in color. I don't think I've ever dreamed in color. Even like
you have colorblind dreams.
Yeah, I have colorblind dreams. It's super weird. So I know I'm dreaming when I'm dreaming, because
it's like how a dog would dream.
Oh man,
right?
That's true. Oh man.
Maybe your dog is having your dreams and you're having your dog's dreams.
Oh my
no.
God.
That might be true, but I feel like sometimes she dreams about like ripping my head off sometimes. So I don't think she would do that.
She does not.
She gets like barky. She gets barky dreams where she'll just like, you know, start to shake and she'll like grunt and stuff in her dreams. It's crazy.
She's not dreaming about killing you though.
I don't know.
Might be running away from zombies or something, maybe.
Yeah. Could be. But I'm a boring dreamer. I can control my dreams though. Do you know like about lucid dreaming?
No.
So if you know you're dreaming, it's a lot easier to control your dream. So a lot of times if I'm in my dream and I'm having an issue where I'm fearful something is going to come for me, or I feel like something's going to, I close my eyes in my dream and everything around me changes to where I want to go. It's kind of weird. Yeah.
Ooh. I wish I could do that. I wish I wish I could, you know, ace that test and not be worried about it in my dreams. But
I never know when I'm dreaming. Like it's very rare that I realize.
I had one last night and like I didn't really remember it until I woke up this morning and got to work, because I saw somebody's car in the parking lot who was in the dream. It was like this guy I used to work with. Like we still work at the same company, but I'm in a different department now. And I don't remember much of the dream, but just like we were just like in cubicles, and then I just like leaned back and he's like, "Hey, Kyle, what are you doing here?" I'm like, "I don't know." and I think there was more. I hope there was more to it than that, because that's a really stupid dream. But I didn't remember anything about this until I got to work and I saw his truck. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, he was in that blah blah blah." So like unless there's like a visual cue or something, it's just gone. But it's like, Oh, great. Yeah. That's the one dream I remember is when I'm sitting in a freaking cubicle in a department I used to work for. Really exciting, really riveting stuff. Like I'm gonna go tell everybody. You guys are the first person I've told this to because who cares? It's really dumb.
Oh, man, I hate work dreams. Work dreams are the worst.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Well, you know what? I always have dreams of like my dad's old office that like I used to go like hang out like when I was a kid. Like he'd be like, hey, come hang out in office, whatever. I always just have weird dreams of like that, but it's like I'm just like navigating through it because like my dad worked for this accounting firm, and like my first job was like I was like a janitor at this place. So for a few years I would just go through and empty the trash here and there. So it's like, but it's like in the dreams I was almost like just like a ghost, just like I was like dead, just like doing janitorial work.
Oh my god.
Just like but I wasn't doing anything. I was just kind of floating over like this path that I would walk throughout the office. I'm like, this is just kind of weird. A lot of cubicles in my dreams.
Are you sure?
So maybe they're
astrally projecting to your job?
that would yeah, I'm just in that office building like with no clothes on. It's like, what am I doing here?
I mean, they wouldn't see you, but you could be floating there.
I don't know, and I'll never know.
We're gonna have to. I want to get into astral projection. I've learned about it a little bit, but I've heard some crazy stuff. Like there's even people protecting the president in the astral realm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Our current president?
Yeah, like whoever the current president is at the time. Like there's Secret Service dudes in the astral realm, like protecting his like astral whatever spirit or whatever you call it. I don't know.
You wonder if that's the case, if they're looking at now, they're like, why are we doing this? Can we do something else? Can we take a break? Like, have you seen this guy?
He's so clueless.
Right. Unplug me from this matrix, please.
I just imagine his like astral thing, like just a feeble-minded Mr. Burns kind of, huh? What? They told me to call on this person.
He's like also confused in the spirit realm. He's like the exact same person, just like, man, this is I'm having some crazy visions here, but it's exactly the same feeble-minded dementia guy.
Yeah, it's all right. He's not gonna last much longer, I don't think.
No.
I think he's on his
no. For sure. I think so. I think by the end of the year he'll be out. They'll put him out to pasture some way, shape, or form.
My God. Then we'll get our first female president.
Yeah, forced upon us.
That no one voted for.
Forced upon us.
I mean, she fits every demographic. She's a woman. She's Black. She's Indian.
Yeah.
Asian.
I think she's Indian. Yeah.
Native American, Brazilian.
Yeah.
She has everything.
Yeah, I agree. She's all that stuff. She's like the Rock. You don't really know what he is. He's just kind of everything.
It's ridiculous.
He is.
Oh man, yeah. I don't like her face. So.
No. Anybody that cackles like that when you ask like a question, it's like the most insincere laugh ever. Yeah. She hates all of us.
So which Star Wars character would Camel Toe Harris be, would you say?
Let's see. I wonder if I so she's an annoying sidekick.
Oh.
Yeah, keep in mind we're out of the loop, Kyle. We haven't watched most of the new ones. So or the shows.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. If you've seen like the original ones, that's kind of like
okay, cool.
That's really all you need to know. I talk a lot about the prequels and stuff, but I know a lot of people aren't into them. But like, it has a really great political story, I think, that has actually really really grown on me. And I've been reading the complimentary novels that came along with the prequel movies, and they just like there's so much great stuff about how government works and how it gets from this to this, and how it gets from a normal government to like a totalitarian government, and just it's really interesting. And I think a lot of people need to check it out just for that. The acting in those are pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. The acting is pretty bad. But like reading the novels, like there's a lot of stuff that they obviously had to cut out for time and stuff. that would have made a lot of more of it make sense and more linear. But okay, so Kamala Harris, let's see. She's the vice president. She's very unpopular. She's just like one of those annoying admirals or something that reports to like Darth Vader. That one of those ones that, you know, ends up getting choked out and dies figuratively in the movie. Disclaimer, we're talking about fictional characters here.
Yes.
But there, you know, I'll probably think of a better analogy after we're done. But she's just kind of an annoying, you know, I'll just go Jar Jar Binks. Okay. Jar Jar Binks seems to work for pretty much any politician, even Joe Biden. It's just like Jar Jar Binks 1 and Jar Jar Binks 2. You know, just a bunch of bumbling fools that are terrible. And the one funny thing about Jar Jar Binks somebody realizes is that like he's the one that gave the emperor all his powers because he put forth a motion that said, hey, can we just, Misa wants to give him emergency powers. Like, like, hey, this is great. Like,
idea.
Yeah, no, like, no, you're an idiot. Why? Who thought this was and why are you here? Why are you in the Senate? Why are you a senator? How did you become a senator? Like,
So good.
Even in the story, like, it doesn't make any sense. She's like, well, the Queen Amidala, she's like, well, Jar Jar, I'm going away for a little while. I'm just going to appoint you as my representative. Like, bitch, you've been in government for like 20 years. You don't know anybody else that could handle the Senate more than this bumbling idiot that you found like in a swamp.
Exactly.
There's got to be somebody else. But, you know, Jar Jar Binks is rumored to be an evil dark Lord of the Sith. So
Really?
maybe he, there's a crazy, you have to look into this. Just look up the theory of Darth Jar Jar. It's a crazy theory how maybe he's the one, you know, controlling everything. But
Messed up.
Is that found more in the novels, or is that just like?
Well, it's a bunch of things. Here, let's get into it. Let's get nuts right. Let's get nuts right here. So
I'm catching up.
He well, like we said, he gave emergency powers to the future emperor, which, you know, was that by design? Was he in league with him the whole time? And like I said, how did he get into the Senate? He must have manipulated some people's minds to get him in there, right? And he fights in some battles, and he never gets hurt, right? He said he was kicked out of his tribe for being clumsy, but he's in these big battles and he never gets hurt. And he almost has like what you would see in like an old Jackie Chan movie or something called like the drunken master, something like that, where it's just very unconventional fighting style, like falling all over the place but still not managing to get hurt and being able to inflict damage on your enemies accidentally almost. So he kind of has this weird force, almost like a force ability, where he sees things before they happen, and he's able to do that. And just really the fact that he is able to manipulate his way through this world and get people to trust him, and ultimately deliver a blow to the nice republic by getting the emergency powers to a dictator.
Interesting.
So
I never thought of it that way. But you're absolutely right. That could totally be a possibility. I mean, I'm not super into the Star Wars universe, but I love the original movies. And Jar Jar Binks, I hate Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, the worst. The worst.
And anybody who says that that's their favorite character, I automatically don't trust that person.
Yeah, it's not a thing. It's not a thing.
But that makes complete sense if you think about it, because when you couple that with that like drunken master style kind of like martial art, that it's like an accidental martial art, but it works perfectly. It's like, wow, it just like clicked.
That is,
and he's able to barter a peace treaty between these two factions that have been fighting to get them to join together to fight a larger enemy.
Yeah.
How could he do that? You know, mind control. Exactly. You know, and he got Jedi to believe in him as well. So it must have been pretty strong for them to believe that he could help them out. Otherwise, he would just look like an idiot. But, you know, I think so. Basically, it's all like an act. Like, have you guys seen the movie The Usual Suspects?
Yes.
Right. So like that guy, the whole movie, he acts like a feeble idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And at the very end, you see that he was the mastermind behind the whole thing. So just put Jar Jar in that same archetype. And there you go.
So Biden is Jar Jar.
Biden is.
So he really is brilliant.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, so I did a podcast on that a while ago, was that, Joe Biden could be one of two things, right? He could just be the bumbling fool, the bumbling idiot, or maybe that's all a show for, making himself look bad so he can continue to do this and that. And people think it's just because he's an idiot, but no, he's actually has this stuff planned out. I don't know. Nobody really knows, but I'm leaning more towards the idiot with that for sure. Sure.
I wonder if before he comes out and he does his little, he's like huddling out and he walks out to the podium, I wonder if he looks at his staff and he's like, now watch this. Jimmy Carter taught me this. And he just goes out there all weak and shit. Bumbles out there.
Like backstage, he's like lifting weights and like doing jumping jacks. I was like, okay, like let me go out like this. Oh, okay. Yeah, could be.
Oh my God.
Watch this. Watch this drag.
Yeah, I love of course, New Hope.
Yes.
Empire Strikes Back, I think, is my favorite out of all. But yeah, the newer ones, the acting was just terrible, but the story behind it is really good. I watched them probably last year, tried to rewatch them again, and I got, because I didn't know anything about the Clone Wars and where the stormtroopers came from.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a deep storyline.
Yeah,
very deep.
Yeah.
In this new series that's on Disney right now, it's kind of taking place after the prequel, so they're kind of setting up this battle between like the clone troopers and the future stormtroopers, because what happens with this clone army that they create, which is crazy on its own, of the talk about biological enhancements and all that kind of stuff. They make these troopers age twice as fast as normal people, so in 10 years time you can get 20-year-old prime fighting soldiers. So by the end of the prequel trilogy, they're all starting to age. So what you see is they're starting to try to phase out the clones for humans, which think in our world is kind of completely the opposite, right? They're trying to phase out us humans for whatever clones or robots, what have you. So it's kind of like the exact opposite of what's happening now. But it's just interesting that they're saying, well, the humans are not as expensive as the clones. So we want to create a human army. So it's really, there's a lot of crazy backstory, and I've only really scratched the surface on besides the movies. There's so many comics and novels and all kinds of stuff that flesh out all these different battles and characters, and it gets crazy. It gets crazy. And when Disney bought it, they wiped out all like 20 years of other stories and stuff, and basically said those didn't count anymore. So it's like, wait, no, I like those ones. Like, stop it. Yeah, because they wanted to say whenever they made their new movies that, well, they didn't want their directors to have to worry about anything that came before, this and that, and
I see.
Whatever. I mean, it kind of makes sense, if I'm a director for a movie, I'm not just going to show up on set like, hey, here, can you just read these first before you start writing anything? It's like, no, I don't want to. I just want to make my own thing. So.
Oh my God.
But I will say about, what you mentioned about Empire Strikes Back and the original movies, I think what made those so good was you saw characters actually have to like deal with stuff. They dealt with problems, they dealt with adversity to get from here to there. And a lot of characters I think you see in some of the newer Star Wars, especially the new Disney movies, is you don't necessarily see a lot of that growth. Like you see in Empire Strikes Back specifically, you see Luke try and fail and fail and fail many times. And I think that's something that's so important that you don't always see in movies anymore, is that it's important to fail. Actually, it's ironic because in one of the new movies, Yoda shows up as a Force ghost and says, failure is the greatest teacher. And I think that's really true, because I think a lot of kids running around nowadays that were coddled their whole life, were made to wear masks, this and that, all this crazy shit, they're going to grow up not having to deal with problems or this and that. And when real life hits them in the face, it's going to be like their whole world shattered because they were never exposed to that, right? It's no different than if you grew up never being exposed to germs. If you grew up in a very sterile environment, whenever you're exposed to germs or viruses, it's going to hit you twice as hard as somebody else who's been, playing in the mud or playing in the sandbox, this and that. So it's that's what I liked about those original movies. It showed that Luke and all these characters were human. They failed and they learned from it. They had very hard lessons taught to them, and they were able to internalize that and make themselves a better person, and then turn that outward and have a positive effect on their galaxy too. That's what I think was so good about those movies.
Yeah.
So do you think that them kind of changing that, because the original Star Wars came out in the 70s, right? The first one came out in the 70s, and they really taught about that adversity part. Now, society overall, I don't know if you agree, but I believe that it's getting weaker. We're getting weaker. So do you
Yeah.
believe that the new ones are more a reflection of how society is, or the society they wanted us to be, because they took away that adversity from the characters?
Yeah, I think it I think they want to, handhold people, and especially in the newer movies. I don't know if you guys have seen her, but the new character, her name is Rey.
Mhm.
She basically kind of skates through these movies. She deals with some adversity, but nothing like what Luke dealt with.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I think it is very representative of the culture we're living in, where you can kind of just like I think about it this way. Look at like a video games, right? Video games, like back in our day, you had like 3 lives, right? And if you didn't make it, you had to start over.
Exactly.
Nowadays, everything is just infinite lives, infinite lives, infinite lives. You get to keep playing, auto saves, right? Keep playing until you beat it. Cheat codes, all this kind of stuff. Like once that happened, it was like it made it a little bit easier. Like I have it over here somewhere. I have the Star Wars game for Super Nintendo, and
Yeah.
it's one of those where there's no passwords or anything. If you die, if you lose those 3 lives, you're done. You can't start over in that. Yeah, and it's hard as shit too.
Yeah.
And it pisses me off. But yeah, so I think it's intentional that they're feeding into that weaker type of society. I don't know exactly what the reasoning is there, but that's definitely a part of it.
Yeah.
I think there's an overall thing trying to get rid of masculinity in men. And that's, if that makes if we're weaker as men, we don't take care of our women as good, and we just succumb to all the bullshit rules that they put on us instead of standing up and being strong. Because back in the day, the days of our grandparents, those guys wouldn't have put up with this shit. They'd
Right.
be like, no, I'm not gonna wear a fucking mask. You wear a mask. They grew their own food, and they hunted their own meat. So
Yeah.
you couldn't
Yeah.
really mess with people like that. Now they want us to like be herded into cities and create smart cities and make sure that everybody's linked, and they're trying to do like social credit system type stuff, like they do in China, and they're trying to get men emasculated, while in China they're actually trying to make the men more masculine.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, because I don't know. Oh my God. Speaking of China, I saw this like video the other day of a kid, probably like 5 or 6, doing just crazy gymnastic, karate, I don't know, taekwondo moves. And the caption just read, "We're fucked," because
They're coming for us. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I think it affects our the younger generation too, because kids overseas in Asia and stuff. I feel like, I don't know the actual time frame, but it's like I feel like they're always going to school. They're always learning. These kids probably 8-10 years old, learning coding and this and that. And at the same time, kids over here, they're watching like Baby Shark on YouTube. that probably a 10-year-old kid over there created. Right? It's like so we're consuming the content and they're creating the content. So you definitely see the bridge there. And back to the point about masculinity, I saw an article earlier today. Of course, one of these awesome ones on Twitter that is just completely BS is like like working out in the gym and stuff is actually like bad for you, Like for a guy, it's like it's bad for your muscles, and it's like no. I see where you're trying to go with this, because like you mentioned about the weakening, and also through the food and all the stuff we consume, especially food. I think a lot of people don't even realize the effect that food have. Me, and look no farther than myself. I'm no better than anybody else. But there's so much crap that they put in that weakens you mentally, weakens you physically. And about the exercise and stuff too. Places that are doing vaccine passports for gyms, right? So a lot of the people I know that work out and exercise the most are the ones that are most anti-vaccine, and because they don't need it. Look at it. Why do you need it? I mean, look at NFL players. Why do you need a vaccine? You're in prime physical shape. You're 21, 22, 23 years old. You could bench press me and 15 other people, without a problem. Like, why do you need the vaccine? But now they're trying to put these barriers in place to stop people that are unvaccinated from using the gym and stuff like that. That's definitely a way they're trying to weaken the society, for sure.
Wow.
It's the fall of the empire.
There you go.
Fall of the empire.
Fall of the empire. So Disney basically took over the Star Wars franchise. I can't imagine the symbolism or like occult symbolism that's in the new movies and TV shows. I'm not familiar with it because I don't watch it. But in terms of the older movies, do you know of any? Is there any type of like occult symbolism that you're aware of, or?
Yeah. There's some. I will say that, and it depends on different ways we look at it. I think the Jedi temple itself, I think, was supposed to be a pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at in the new movie, they go to, which is basically, the opposite of the Jedi is the Sith, right? The dark side. They go to like a Sith temple, and it's completely inverted. It's an upside down temple, like going into the ground. It's really, like, visually, it's really cool to look at, but you can see that's almost like, like an up and down thing. But if anybody is listening really wants to dive deep into this, and it's not an area I get too deep in as far as the symbolism, because I'm into, like, the story elements and stuff. But Isaac Weishaupt, who everybody probably knows, he writes a lot of good books and puts a lot of great content about all the symbolism in modern movies and stuff. And he wrote a really good book called The Star Wars Conspiracy about 3 or 4 years ago. And I read it a few months ago. It was great, really great read. It's short, maybe 100, 150 pages. But he talked about how, like the Death Star, if you look at the Death Star, all the corridors of the Death Star are six-sided. So there's like do. So it's like you talk about like a Saturn cube almost.
Yeah.
And the word Darth, Darth, is very similar to the word, it's DA', which is part of like the tree of Kabbalah or something to that effect. I don't remember exactly, but so there's some of that symbolism there. And there's a lot of Saturn type stuff, I think. And one of the planets from the prequels called Geonosis, it's kind of like a gaseous planet. And if you look at it from the exterior, it looks very much like Saturn, so there is a lot of Saturn type stuff in there. And I guess the core premise of the idea of the Force is very occult in nature as well. And this is something that I had not really thought about until I read this book. Was, I had thought my whole life, Star Wars is great because it's like good versus bad, right? The good people defeat the evil people, right? But in the Star Wars universe, there's really no God. There's no person that has created the universe, whatever. And, you can argue if that's correct or incorrect, but I think the Force itself is really just a spectrum where you bend it to your will to accomplish your goals. So the light side and the dark side, neither of them are good and bad. They're basically manipulating the universe to get what they want. The Jedi say they do it for, holistic and good intentions. The dark side say they do it for more power. But really, it's just this push and pull back and forth. So you can almost say that it's a godless type society where religion doesn't exist. If you think about it, and So that's really interesting from a religious standpoint. And then one other thing I'll say is that if you look at the emperor himself in the prequels and in the original trilogy, they almost give off kind of like an Aleister Crowley kind of vibe to him, right? In these black robes. So it looks very, very much like that occult master, that occult, whatever an occult master would be called. I don't know the exact terminology, but they're definitely going for that type of vibe when you look at him. And I think that's the ones I can think of right now. But yeah, there's a lot of that stuff in there. And the other thing too that you see in Star Wars, as well as a lot of like Disney movies, I don't know if I would necessarily call it a cult, but a lot of if you think about communist governments or totalitarian governments, they want to round up a bunch of like kids to work for them, right? Like look at like the Hitler Youth, the brown shirts, people like that. They want to find all these people that they can coerce into their cult. And one of the ways that is done is they look for kids who have had non-traditional upbringings. So in pretty much every Disney movie, if you look at it, they either have one or both parents are dead, right? And any character in any main character in any Disney movie, some of the parents are dead. And even in Star Wars, like his mom and dad, Luke Skywalker's mom and dad are presumed dead. His aunt and uncle are found dead. Boba Fett, he sees his dad get beheaded. So it's really interesting how, and even Anakin Skywalker, he grows up without a father. He sees his mother die, and it's very easy for them to persuade him to the dark side because he doesn't have some of that upbringing. So that's just not necessarily a cult, but it's really interesting how they put that in all the movies, Disney or Star Wars.
Like an attack on the family unit.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Starting them young.
Right. Yeah, and also saying like how like, hey, well, you don't really need that because look at Luke Skywalker. He didn't have that. He overcame that. Maybe that's true, but I don't think if you should turn your back on that because of that type of mentality. So
that's kind of weird that they do take kind of damaged kids. That's a traditional thing. I mean, as soon as you said that Disney always does that, I thought, I'm like, oh yeah, Bambi, like
yeah,
right away, dead.
Yeah.
Like, come on,
right?
It's a Lion King, like you name it, everything.
Yeah, all of them.
That's so
all
messed
of them.
up.
Yeah.
Pinocchio is the worst, I think, of them all.
and I think also, oh God, Pinocchio is one of the most disturbing movies.
It is bad.
And another thing too, it just kind of about taking away a family dynamic, like a relationship dynamics. In the newer Star Wars movies, there's really no male and female like relationship, right? It's not like there's like a love interest.
Yeah.
And even in any of the new Disney movies over the past 10 years, going back to like Frozen and all this stuff, there's really no romance. It's all about like the love between a sister and a sister, or a girl and her mom, or a friend and a friend, which are all great things. And don't get me wrong, but they're trying to say that is that can take place for like a physical relationship with a man and a woman, or whatever in a romantic type situation, because for one reason or another. But it's really weird. Just look at any Disney movie. I think at least the past 10 years, there's really not been any romance in any of these, because that was always like it was, right? Like, oh, the prince finds the princess, this and that, and they've gone so far away from that they don't even want to entertain that kind of stuff in their movies anymore, because they don't feel that it's important or necessary. Because if they want, it's all about isolation, right? They want people to be isolated, because people that are isolated are more easily to be manipulated by propaganda or this and that. So if you can get people to realize, hey, I don't need to have a partner, I don't need this or that, it's more easy for you to be taken advantage of, to be honest.
Yeah. No, interesting. Are you aware of the term aromantic?
Oh shit. Mm-mm. Oh, we're gonna go there.
So oh no, did you drop out?
Did we drop out? No, I'm still here. Here. Hold on a second.
So there was we have a friend that recently revealed this term to us, younger than us. And I guess it's just how do I describe it? It's hard for me to describe because I know what love is.
Yeah.
I know what it is. And I guess people that are aromantic, they don't have the urge to love anyone.
They don't have the urge to like be
They don't have
romantic
the
with
urge.
another like person.
Yeah, they don't have the urge to seek it
Yeah.
either. It's just,
it's almost like asexual in a way.
yeah.
Right.
But so that seems to be a trend coming up with the younger generation.
Yeah.
Which is really sad. And I'm sure the Disney movies and propaganda that they were brought up on played a big role. So that's an example of one of the effects. Yeah, check that out. Aromantic.
Yeah, there's like
Aromantic.
there's like subreddits for this.
Yeah.
No joke.
Yeah.
These people exist.
Right. And they can make it sound like a virtue, right? Like they can make it sound like, hey, this is a great thing. And not saying that everybody needs a romantic relationship. I get it. It doesn't always work out for everybody. It is what it is. But to think that, you know, that's not ever going to be a possibility for you, I think is, you know, not correct either.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
I think there's somebody for everybody. I really do. Like you just have to get out there and look. You can't sit and wait and hope that somebody comes to you and you're gonna live the rest of your life together and be happy. Sometimes if you want it, you got to go get it. So I mean, maybe these people just don't want to go out get it. I don't know. Maybe that's their thing.
Right.
I don't know. It's harder for people to connect these days. So
yeah, I agree.
Physically. We can connect this way, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man. So Kyle, you have kids, right? I remember.
I do. I have two little ones. My son's 4 and my daughter just turned 2.
Cool.
So
that's awesome. Yeah.
Luckily they've avoided a lot of the crazy, you know, BS of the masks and all that kind of stuff just because they're too young right now. So I'm thankful for that because I don't want to have to go through that just yet. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that, you know, this will be over, but by the time they're school age, but you know, that's wishful thinking. All we need is everybody to be vaccinated and we're going to get right back on track, right? That's how it works.
Yeah, I mean, look at Israel. It looks like it's going great there.
Worked really great. Yeah, they're all in the hospital, but they're vaccinated, so it's great.
Oh my God.
Well, it would have been worse.
Oh, it would have been worse. Right. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah, that was my question. I was wondering how you're handling it with your kids, but if they're not even of school age yet.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, they're in daycare and my son is in preschool. So not too many effects on it yet. I mean, I think they've seen people wearing masks and stuff, but you know, we obviously don't wear them anytime we're doing anything. So we try to reinforce that as much as possible. But there's probably something in their psyche that seeing the people in the masks is just a little. You would think it'd be uncomfortable, but maybe it's normal, you know, for them to think that's how people are. But you know, I hope not. But it's one of those things that you can't measure. You know, you can measure people getting sick or going to the hospital, this, that, but it's one thing you can't measure is what emotional, you know, spiritual toll this has on kids that have been thrust right into and know nothing better, you know.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of homeschooling them?
Yeah, that's a thought. We'll see. I mean, hey, if I lose my job, I might as well just, you know, homeschool them as well. Just kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone while we're at it here. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a great idea. I don't know if me and my wife are cut out for it, but you know, it's something. I'm not going to rule it out because you know we all know about how ugly the school system has gotten.
Yeah.
You know, especially over this past year or 2. So luckily, it's some of the curriculum isn't as bad in our area, but I've heard little rumblings of some, you know, stuff they're trying to hide in there, which is not appropriate. I mean, I don't think pushing any political agenda one way or the other is good for kids, whether you agree with it or not. I think you should tell them history as it is, you know, teach them math, teach them science, teach them real science, right? Not like the bought and paid for science, like real science, chemistry, you know, how to critical think, like all this stuff I think is what needs to be taught. And you know, I'm kind of keeping an eye on what people are saying about the school system around here, and we'll see if that's an avenue we want to pursue. I mean, it's I know a lot of people have been doing it, and it's a lot of work, but it sounds like it's rewarding as well. And it's one of those things that's come around, right? Just like people used to make fun of doomsday preppers, 10 years ago. Same way with people that homeschooled their kids. Right now, it's all turned around like that. That's actually the right way to go at this point. Preparing yourself, teaching your kids yourself. That's probably the way to go. So we'll see how that goes.
Exactly.
Oh my God. So you put in, I remember you said you put in a religious exemption for your job, right? Because they're mandating the vaccine. Have you heard back on that?
No, and I just emailed them again today, and they said they're still taking some time to look into it. So I have about another week and a half, I think, before they're supposed to come back with their determination. So, I'm kind of, praying and holding out hope that it'll go my way. If not, I'm going to kind of look at what my other options are. I mean, it's not an easy situation. It's going to hurt, physically. It's going to hurt financially to get another job, to do anything different than, I think, because think about it, you get used to kind of whatever your lifestyle is,
right.
And any change to that is a shock to the system. I mean, it's not that we couldn't absorb it and we'll be fine, but it's just, the anxiety of the unknown is what's with me at this point, but I fully believe that everything will work out well in the end. And it always has, because I've always tried to have a positive outlook and a positive mindset about things. And I think that law of attraction, or whatever they want to call it, right? I think that that's partly true why I've had, good things happen to me in my life, or I've at least looked at things that have happened to me in my life in a positive way. So, we'll see how it goes. I'm cautiously optimistic, I think is the right term to use.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, my job, they haven't spoken of mandating a vaccine just yet. It seems like every email that comes in, it always says it's up to the person, we're not involved, but we do need to know whether you're vaccinated or not. So they want that information, which I have not provided. But also following their COVID policies of having to check in with the monitor when you go to the office, having to fill out this form about your health before you go into the office. That's as far as I guess COVID has reached into my job. But Buffalo's in healthcare, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be asking him for the vaccine pretty soon.
Probably. Yeah, I work in healthcare. I'm kind of back office, similar to you, not in finance, but I work in benefits, and it's, I work for one of the biggest companies in the country, and I would say a good 70% of all of our employees are vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent out a similar thing saying, yes, we need to know if you're vaccinated or not, but it was optional. And so I never answered them because it was optional. Why answer? And I work from home, so there's no point.
Right.
Why do they need to know?
Right.
So then they just sent out an email 2 weeks ago saying that it's no longer optional. You have to answer. And you have to answer by this Friday. So tomorrow, we have to answer by tomorrow. I haven't answered. I'm not going to answer because it's none of their business. And so I'm kind of preparing to mount a defense just in case they call me in. I already told my boss I'm not going to answer. I don't feel like it's necessary. She kind of agrees. She's like, yeah, you work from home. She's vaccinated. She asked if I was going to get vaccinated. I said no. I'm not feeling like it. I don't think I want to do that. And and if they make it mandatory, then I guess you guys will fire me because I'm not going to do it. And she said, well, I don't think they'll make it mandatory, but she is looking into like what's going to happen to you. Like I asked her, what's going to happen? Are they going to really fire me if I don't answer this question? She's like, I don't think they'll fire you. But she escalated the question up the chain to see, what would happen, what's going to happen. So I preemptively kind of prepared. I asked for my personnel file. I asked for every bit of information, everything that I signed as part of my agreement for employment there. like my contract basically with them. So I got a copy of everything, and I got a copy of the employee handbook. I read everything. I didn't see anything that said that if they ask you for medical information, you have to present it.
Right.
I have one more question left for the HR person who's working with me. And I'm basically asking if I have to disclose any kind of medical procedure or treatment to this company. Do I have to do that, or is that something that I can just keep to myself? What if you have to take time off or something, right? So I
Right.
threw that out there. I'm just waiting for his answer back, but I'm sure it's going to be a no, you don't have to disclose. And I'm going to use that email plus everything that I have. And if they call me into HR, I'm just going to ask them, please point to me the policy that I'm violating
Right.
before you fire me. Because if you don't, I'm going to sue you, and I will
Right.
win, because I don't have a contract with you to discuss
Right.
private medical information.
Right.
So, I mean, I
Yeah.
never signed anything that said that. I never agreed
Right.
to that. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. I got a random email a few months ago. It said, hey, we know you're not vaccinated. Can you fill out this survey of why you're not and what your issues are with it? And just discarded it. Like you said, it's none of their business.
Yeah.
And you're working from home. So what's the difference, for one? Which our company said, well, even though you're working from home, it's still the right thing to do. Like give me a break. Give me a break. Even if I believed in it, I still wouldn't get it, because the quote unquote older people that I know already have gotten the vaccine. So I'm not going to be disproportionately affecting anybody who's in a older age range, by not getting it. So it's like, I'm not hurting anybody by not getting it, and quit trying to put the finger on me. But I think why they want you to disclose it, I feel like a lot of organizations are now being pressured to give out these ratios to other organizations that oversee all this stuff, right? Like, hey, we have 70%, we have 80%, and how does that help? How does that tie into, I don't know, funding or financing or what have you? There has to be some aspect. I think it's even going to get down to, unfortunately, like physician offices are going to start saying, well, we're keeping track of how many of our patients are vaccinated because we have to report that. And if we're not meeting a certain threshold, the government isn't going to give us funding for this and that. Like, I can see it going down to that level, but yeah, healthcare, they all say that they're not going to mandate it, and then it's going to definitely start coming down one way or the other. So, best of luck to you. I hope that it doesn't have to come to that, especially working remotely. It's very silly.
Yeah. It would really hurt, honestly, because my team's kind of been shuffled around. I lost faith in my company a long time ago, but they shuffled us around. They took like 5 of our best people and they just put them on other departments. They called it redeployment or something like that. And it was either they had to go to those other departments, or the company would fire them. So they basically didn't have a choice. They had to go. And our bosses didn't know, but like maybe one day before they announced it to them.
Oh,
And
geez.
that put us back months of work, just months and months and months of work. And we're just catching up. We're just like rehiring some people. And now we're
Right.
a couple more people. So if they get rid of me, this is really going to screw them, because I do a lot of their work. Like at one point I was doing 3 people's jobs.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's only going to hurt them. I mean, I could probably get unemployment unless it's for willful misconduct, like I saw that you pointed out.
Yeah.
But if not, then oh well, I'll sell something. I'll do something to make money. I'll do DoorDash. I don't care. I'll deliver Amazon packages, whatever I have to do to make ends meet. But those are easy jobs. I could do that while listening to podcasts all day. Not a big deal.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Why not? Why not? And I thought about too. It's like, I've been working in the office for so long. Like, if I had to, I would go back and like work in landscaping or something, and just like work outside all day. Actually get some exercise and not sit around the office on my ass all day. Just gaining weight, not having much activity. Like, yeah, it'd be a financial hit, but still at the same time, I care more about my health really than money at this point. So we'll see what happens. But I don't know if you guys have heard about this, and it's not really a social media site that I use, but you've heard of that Gab social media site. They actually I have an account on there. I haven't been on there in probably months and months, but they're starting a job board on there for employers that are not mandating the vaccine, and job seekers that are looking for jobs that are not going to mandate the vaccine. So it sounds all well and good. I don't know about the mechanics of it, but I just think I want to throw it out there for anybody to take a look at if anybody is interested in that. So hopefully it's not like a CIA thing where they're trying to get all the unvaccinated people's information and sell it to the CDC or something. But on the face of it, it sounds like a good thing. So I would hope that there's more organizations doing something similar, but there's probably not going to be too many. But anyways, that's just something to think about. So we'll see.
I'll have to check that out.
Hopefully it's not a honeypot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're gonna have FBI coming to your door the next day. Hey, you're unvaccinated. Get in the van. We're taking you to.
I was gonna ask, have you had anyone come to your door yet to ask you if you're vaccinated?
No.
Right.
How about you?
I don't think there was like a couple people the other day that were kind of weird that might have. We didn't answer the door, but
yeah. Well, so in our city, you're technically not allowed to solicit.
Yeah.
Like it's actually against the law in our city. You can't go to door to door. You have to go to the city and get a permit, whether it's for sales or political or whatever. You have to get a permit. So there's a law. So every time somebody comes to the door, I always ask them, "Where's your permit?" And they didn't even know about it. So, I let them know you got to go down to City Hall. If I don't tell you, somebody else is going to tell you. So I'm just letting you know, like people are going to slam the door in your face. But these guys came and they had like one had an iPad and the other one had like a backpack kind of a thing. And they looked like, they were wearing masks. They were dressed kind of shirt and tie. They didn't look like Mormons or anything, but they just showed up and they were going door to door. Like they came to our door and they straight up knocked and waited. And then they knocked again and they waited and they knocked again. And I was like, oh my God.
I was hiding behind the couch. I was so scared.
No, we were sitting on the couch watching TV. We just straight up ignored them. And then I'm like, how long do you guys have to wait before you leave? But they finally left. And then they went to our other neighbor and then they went to the other neighbors. And we just saw them kind of go around. And I didn't know if they were for that because we heard that they are getting out and asking people. I don't know if it's in our specific county, but I know LA County's doing it. We're not that far. So maybe they think, oh, we'll just come over here.
We just get weird people asking like, hey, do you want new siding on your house? Like, no, I don't. Please leave. Goodbye. I'm trying to put my kids to bed. Can you leave? Seriously.
Yeah.
Oh,
my dog's barking. My kid's trying to sleep. Just go away. Why are you here? It's 7:00 at night. What are you doing?
Oh man, you get them late over there.
That is late.
Yeah, like what is going on here? And my kids are in the bath. What are you doing? Get a life.
Want some Tyvek?
Right. Like if I need siding, I would find someone that had siding. Yeah. I'm gonna seek that out. But thank you anyways.
That guy that came to my door sounded really good. Let me call him back. I need siding.
At a house we lived at like 10 years ago, I was out mowing the yard in the backyard, and these two like door-to-door salesmen came into the backyard. It's like, what are you doing?
Oh my God.
How is this cool? And I'm like, I was playing it cool because like there were two of them and one of me, and I don't want to get beat up in my own yard in front of my lawnmower. But I was just like, no, thank you, no, thank you, no, thank you, no, thank you, bye. And like, okay, they're cool, bro, cool. I'm just like, bye, please, just stop.
Do you have a gate between your front and backyard that they like?
No, I didn't have. There was nothing at all. So they just kind of just like wandered back there. Like, come on, unprofessional. In all the door-to-door manuals, that's a big no-no. I mean, even if you were cool, like, no, we're not doing this.
I'm like, we're not doing this. Some neighborhoods, that's where you get shot.
Yeah.
Like if you do something like that, somebody's gonna shoot you one of these days.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do a door-to-door to sit like sales job like that.
I did canvassing for a little bit when I was in college and lost, and I did it for plastic bags.
Oh yeah.
Trying to get them banned. So I unknowingly contributed to the plastic bag ban in California as a dumb college liberal student.
You got paid.
I did, but it was so hard to just stand there with a clipboard and have to regurgitate this language that I was taught about how bad plastic bags were. And there's this place in the ocean, this landfill in the ocean that has so many acres, and it's just filled with plastic, and people would just walk by. Some people would stop and want to hear it, but it was a terrible job. So
and this is why we have paper straws now. Thanks a lot.
I know. So sorry, everyone.
No, we have paper straws because a little boy did an experiment and a report, and it became a news story. And they said paper straws are responsible for 1% or 3% or whatever of all the plastic in the oceans.
You're talking about
And
plastic straws?
Yeah, plastic straws. And it came from a little boy's report, and he was on like a Fox News clip, and then they just went wild with it. And they went, no, she did the bags though. Totally did the bags. That was all her. Now we have to bring those stupid canvas bags to the farmer's market and the grocery store.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
They don't care anymore.
Oh yeah, they don't care. They give you stuff because of COVID.
Yeah, California has a plastic bag ban. So before COVID, we had to bring in our canvas bags to the store, and COVID happened, and they were like, we can't touch your bags
because they have COVID.
You can't use canvas bags. Here, take our plastic bags. So
right.
We're back to plastic bags now, even though they're banned. But whatever.
Right. And now that island in the middle of the ocean is now filled with masks now on top of all the plastic, you know. It's protecting, it's coating the plastic, right? So the plastic will never go anywhere because it's just full of masks now. It's great. It's great.
Maybe they'll pile so much mass on it, it'll just finally sink and it'll just go into the ocean.
Oh my God.
I mean, if we're lucky.
Oh my God. So Kyle, did you have a chance to listen or think of your songs that you wanted to?
Oh gosh, no, I haven't, and I'm gonna have to do that within the next day. I'm trying to pinpoint certain songs. Like I love listening to like full albums so much that I'm trying to pinpoint a few select songs. So I'll get you some banging tracks here all over the place. What kind of music are you guys into?
Let's see. Lately, I've been into like more electronic, lo-fi type sound. But high school, I grew up on 80s music. So I love 80s music. High school, I was like a hardcore emo kid. Not really into country too much. Don't really like rap, hip hop, but
I like everything.
I'll give it a listen if it's good. If it's not mumble rap,
right?
I'll
yeah.
I like everything. I can't. I hate mumble rap though. I don't like mumble rap, and I don't like new country that's like Nashville kind of sound.
Like very like pop, like real poppy. I don't. That's what everybody around here listens to, and I tolerate. I'll go to the concerts. I'll have a few drinks here and there, and but I'm not opposed to it. But at the same time, it's not my favorite. I grew up really big into like I guess kind of the newer punk scene, right? Like you're like Green Day, Blink-182, that kind of stuff. Like some electronic type stuff, but I've now reverted way back to a lot of stuff from classic rock in the 70s, stuff in the 80s. I'm like, ever since I became a dad, I'm like huge into like Genesis and Phil Collins now.
Oh my gosh.
Which I don't think is a bad thing. Like I love it so much. My wife hates it. She hates it. I'm just like, let me just play this one song. She's like, no, I know what it's gonna be. It's gonna be that garbage. I'm like, just this one song. She's like, please don't play it.
What's your favorite Phil Collins song?
My favorite Phil Collins song. Oh my gosh, that is that is hard to pick. Right now, and it's kind of more of a sappier type one, but it reminds me of my son. It's called Father to Son. It's kind of him talking about his son growing up and falling in love and stuff, and it's very kind of hits me right now at an emotional time, just kind of seeing him as a little guy, seeing him grow. So that's kind of the one I'm into. No, I totally don't cry when I'm listening to it. Stop saying I'm crying. I'm not crying.
What is the salty discharge?
I dig Phil Collins. I'm not ashamed to say it. I like Phil Collins.
Yeah. He's a great singer. Like people don't realize he's an amazing drummer. Like listen to Genesis album from the 70s. Like he did all the drumming on all those albums. Like people don't realize that. Like after he started singing, but it's really great stuff. So he gets kind of a corny dad vibe, I think, but
because
like
he's a corny dad.
and he's a corny dad, right?
Yeah.
But like he's wrote a lot of really amazing songs. So, you know, I do get a little worried though, because, you know, in that book called Bloodlines of the Illuminati, the name Collins shows up as a top Illuminati family name. So you wonder if he has some of that in him. Is that why he's so popular? I don't know.
Is that
Maybe
why
we'll never.
Gabriel left Genesis?
Yeah, it was like a blood sacrifice to the Illuminati gods. Yeah. Well, hey guys, I got to roll out here in a few minutes here. I've had a great time chatting with you guys. Amazing.
Yeah.
Can you, since we're doing a Swapcast, can you tell my listeners where they can find you guys?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah,
So,
they can find us on our website, falserealitycheck.com.
Twitter, we're at FRC Pod. You can email us at frcpodcast@protonmail.com. We're on Spotify, Apple,
all the good places,
the usual outlets.
Yeah.
We're not on Instagram. We're not on TikTok.
Yeah.
Twitter's as far as we'll go. But totally email us. Like, that's probably the best way to get a hold of us.
For sure. Can you let
Kyle, please?
Yeah, please. Can you let our listeners know where to
find you? Sure. So my podcast is called Konspiracy in the Forest. Likewise, you can find that on any podcasting platforms. I'm on YouTube, Rokfin, Instagram, which I think you guys should be on Instagram. Instagram's a lot of fun, I have to say, and Twitter. It's at conspiracy_Kyle, and that's conspiracy with a K, which has helped me avoid, I think, some censorship, because it's not just normal conspiracy, it's with a K. But I'm telling you guys, Instagram is a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. For some reason, I don't get as many interactions on Twitter anymore, but I basically screenshot my tweet and I put it on Instagram, and like people love it, and it gives me all the good feels artificially from social media clicks. It gets me all the happy feelings, which is what social media is intended to do, and to make us addicted to it. So, but
for sure, maybe we'll get on. You're the second person to recommend it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll jump on.
So it's
cool.
Yeah. I will follow you guys for sure.
Okay, then we'll get on. Kyle. You can follow us then. Awesome. Well, thanks, Kyle, so much.
Thank you guys.
Anytime you want to come and chat, anytime.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. Likewise. Definitely be chatting again in the future here.
Awesome. Sure. All right. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to the False Reality Check podcast. I'm Buffalo Rambler.
And I am Legs.
And you can find us on falserealitycheck.com or on Twitter.
Yes.
At FRC Pod.
FRC Pod. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean at False Reality Check. If you'd like to support us, swanbitcoin.com/false reality check.
Or we take donations from Cash App and PayPal. We will set that up soon on the website.
But yeah, send us an email though. frcpodcast@protonmail.com.
We love hearing from you.
We love hearing from you guys.
Send us pictures and connect with us.
Yes.
This is a community after all.
And we want to hear from you and connect. We're not crazy. We're not all crazy.
Just a little.
Maybe just a little.
Thanks for listening, guys.